Hi, I'm John Knight, a pastry chef instructor at Escoffier. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of my family's favorite holiday breads, a pumpkin bread. Here we have the star of the show. It's one 16-ounce can of pumpkin puree. We have 3 cups of sugar, 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. Here's our leavening and our spice mixture. So our leavening is 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It's 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, a teaspoon of allspice, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and ½ a teaspoon of ground cloves. Here is 2/3 cup of water, 1 cup of vegetable oil. Here we've got 4 whole eggs, and we have our prepped baking pans. These are prepped with butter on the inside, and we have parchment laid in so the loaf can come out a lot easier. So let's get started. The first thing that we have to do is take our spice mixture and our leavening agents, and we're going to mix them with our flour. So I pour it right on top. I get a small whisk and just incorporate it a little bit. I don't have to work too hard, just make sure that it's mixed up. Awesome. From here, we're going to move on to the mixer. I'm going to grab my sugar, pour all of it in. I know it seems like a lot, but trust me, it's not that much. Take my olive oil, very gently, add my olive oil. Pick it up, and I'm just going to stir it until it just comes together. What's going to happen is the sugar on the bottom is never going to absorb the oil fully, so I'm going to wait for it to stick to the sides, and then I'm going to scrape the walls down and add the next ingredient. So there we are. So now inside, it's all mixed together. I'm going to drop my bowl, mix the whole thing together. So everything's off the sides and down into the center of the bowl. Scrape off my spatula, don't want to lose any of the sugar. Then from here, I'm going to add all 4 of my eggs at one time. And I'm going to add all of my pumpkin puree. And again, we're going to turn it on, stir, maybe 1 notch up from that until it's just combined. It doesn't need to move too fast. We can be a little bit patient with it. And what we're waiting for here is we're waiting for everything to come together and be the same color. We're looking so there's no more pockets of sugar and there's no more unbroken egg yolks or any spots where the egg hasn't mixed in. So once everything is completely combined, that's when we can move on. Wonderful. So as you can see, it doesn't take too long. Everything's very, very wet. And inside is this really nice, bright orange color that you get from the pumpkin and a tiny bit of help from the egg yolk. So from here, I'm going to take and I'm going to add about half of my flour. So, half my flour's in. Just very gently, you want to scoop the sides and make sure you don't spill anything on the side. Now you want to start slow with this, because if I really kick it up, I'm going to get this cloud of flour that comes out of my bowl and gets everything messy. And besides having to clean my counter, I also lose a lot of flour from my recipe, which may make it so it's too wet. So moving slow. Once it starts looking like it's coming together, I can kick the speed up a little bit so I don't get any puffs of flour out of here. I can smell those spices coming out really good now. From here, I can leave it stirring for a little while. I'm going to add half of my water. We want to make sure we go back and forth between our liquid and our dry ingredients, so that way we don't get any pockets of flour or any pockets of any of the dry ingredients that just don't break down and won't taste good when you cut into it. And if anything sticks to the side, you can always grab your spatula, turn it off, pull it down, take your spatula, give it a good scrape all the way around. Make sure it all gets back into the pot there. Go all the way around the pot. Wonderful. Sometimes you gotta dance around your machine to make it work. Pick it up. I'm going to add the rest of my flour in. Just make sure I really get everything in there as best I can. Wonderful. Can clean up my pans here a little bit. Get them out of the way. Give it a slight stir here. And again, I'm going to go slow so I don't get a huge mushroom cloud of flour out of here, which is never a good thing. Once it starts coming together, I can add the rest of my liquid. And from here, I'm going to let it mix for another minute or 2 until it's just combined. And I don't want to work it too far. If I let it in here for 5-10 minutes and really let it sit for a really long time, I'm going to get something of a tough, dense bread, which I don't want. So from here I can kick it up a little bit. Everything in here is mixed together. There's no more dry flour, no more chance of an explosion coming out of here. I can kick the speed up a little bit. Kind of speed up the process here. And there we have it. We have a basic pumpkin bread batter. So, here's our batter. If I have a little bit of flour on top, I can always give it one quick little stir, just to work it all in. Okay, once I get these all mixed up, they're gonna go straight into the pan. This is gonna make me 2 loaves, so I'm gonna pour in half into my first pan. Might try and get a little less in the first time, because I can always add more. It's a lot harder to take it back out. Then I'm gonna add the rest to my second pan. Get in here, and really clean my bowl out. Awesome. So, there we have it. From here, I'm going to take these 2 pans, I'm going to throw them in a 350-degree oven for roughly 30 minutes, or until the centers are cooked. You can insert a skewer, and if it comes out clean, that's when it will be done. So now our pumpkin bread is out of the oven, and it looks amazing. So while it's cooling down, we're going to knock out a really simple but delicious maple buttercream icing. And the ingredients are 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, 1 cup of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 sticks or half a pound of room temperature unsalted butter. So, to prepare this, it's actually very simple. It's as simple as put everything in the bowl, put a whisk attachment in, and then turn it on. But we're gonna start with our butter first. I have it cut up into small chunks. Even though it is room temperature, I don't want my machine to have to work so hard. So, break up my butter into all the small pieces that we have. Grab my whisk. Pick it up, and we're gonna spend a few seconds just getting this moving on its own. So all that's doing is that's softening it up, so that way it won't take as long once all the other ingredients get in. And as soon as the ingredients hit, it can become one solid, uniform mixture. Great, so that's come together. I'm just gonna start slowly adding in my powdered sugar. It's okay if it gets on the walls a little bit, it will work down. There we go. Grab my maple syrup. It's a lot of maple syrup, it's gonna be delicious. Get all that in there. Splash in my vanilla extract. And finally, my salt. Wonderful. So, all my ingredients are in. Everything's incorporated, so I don't have anything like the powdered sugar to burst out of it, as I was talking about with the flour for the pumpkin bread. From here, I'm gonna turn my speed up, and I'm gonna let this run until it's broken down and it's smooth. And it could take up to 7-8 minutes or so, depending on how strong your mixer is and how soft your butter was. So this is looking like it's not gonna take too long, but it's gonna need a little bit of time just to work out for itself. So it's been about 6 minutes for us, and my buttercream looks like it's finished. So I'm gonna turn my mixer off, pull it down, take the whole bowl off. Cool. And my whisk is clean enough. And from here, I'm gonna use my buttercream, pick a good bit of it out, put it on top, and I'm gonna slowly just work this till it's completely covered. Now, one of the best parts is, if my pumpkin bread is still warm, it'll get a little bit melty on me and soak into the bread a little bit. So as I'm moving around it, I can smooth it out and make it a little more smooth if you want. I like mine to be just, a nice thick topping on top. And again, like I said, I pretty much put it out and it's cut up and eaten in a few minutes, so I don't have to worry about the look too much. But it adds a nice, thick top of sweetness to this bread, which is a lot more spicy than it is dessert-like. So that's a way to make a good harvest pumpkin bread for your family. Thank you for joining me.